Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful explosion pop-up card. Now I doubt if you can see it all in the screen, but you open the flap, there's a magnet in there, and then you open it up there and you have that. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? And it really is not that difficult to make. Okay, this is the only one that I have actually made right the way through from start to finish, but I would just like to talk about it just for a couple of minutes first. You might think to yourself that you don't recognise this designer series paper, and you'd be perfectly correct, because this is actually gift wrapping paper that I've used. I did try one. Let me see, I bring my little bags of goodies here. I did try designer series paper first, and I found that because of all the burnishing and the folding and everything, I found that it did start to split. There's one bit in there which didn't matter because that will actually be covered up, but one of these down here was really split. In fact, it's on here. The amount that it splits, you may think to yourself, well, I'm really not going to worry about that, and give designer series paper a go. Obviously it's a bit more difficult because it's thicker, but wait until you've seen what I've done and decide if you would like to give it a go with the designer series paper. If Stampin' Up bring out their lighter weight, like we had when we had like a newsprint design, that would be absolutely superb. But the thinner the paper, the less likely it is to split. Now the other papers that I've used I have two other suggestions apart from wrapping paper. One is just normal computer paper, especially if you've got coloured paper. This one I tried stamping on it and that worked. On that one I tried stamping some on the back, some on the front, but if I were to do this again I would have all the stamping on the inside, because all the time I've been looking at my card I haven't actually twisted it around to see what it looks like from the outside. So I think that would be better to be focused like that, and whatever design you use on that you could actually do for sheets here and here, or whatever colour your sheet is, to find some designer series paper to do these little bits. So that's another choice. Got something else to show you on that one. If you go for gift wrapping paper, don't go for one that's got a shiny surface on it on the outside, because that is very, very difficult to score on. It's very easy to jump the tracks, so I don't recommend that one. The card inside with the cake, that template, once you've made that, you can actually make it into an individual card. This one I made, well, I sort of started, I didn't finish it off, but this was going to be a wedding cake. Okay. Where did I get that? That was from a die, I think. But that could be finished off at some stage. And this one is another basic, which I'm trying to decide what I want to do with it. But you don't have to do the cake bit only to go in there. Once it's made, you can just put it in a frame like that. I showed you that. I want something else about that, don't I? In fact, I'm going to keep these two nearby. And the other thing I wanted to show you is it's a good idea to make yourself a template for the cake part. This one's not correct because I've changed all my measurements on mine. And the measurements this side, as the arrow indicates, is what the gap is from here to here, and then that's the gap from there to there, and likewise. And on this side it's the measurement from there to there, there to there, and there to there. As I say, that's excuse me, I've changed all my measurements, so it's a bit different. What I did with mine was I just photocopied my one like that. It's not quite as nice as that, but it'll file away a lot easier. In fact, I'll keep that one by me. So I got those as well. So as you can see, I really have played around with this one. Had a fantastic time. The other paper that you could use is normal brown parcel paper. This is really very, very thin. And with this one, you can stamp on this as well. One of my very, very early videos was to show you how to make Christmas wrapping paper using this. So any thin paper, and I'm just hoping that Stampin' Up will bring some thin paper, designer series paper in the new annual catalogue that's due out in a couple of months. April, May, yeah, a couple of months now. So I'm going to start off by telling you the card pieces you're going to need. I will point out that that was a mistake. That's covering up a mistake there, in as much as when I cut these two layers, the gift wrap and also the white, I did it the wrong size, so I had to cut an inch off the top so it didn't have the white border around it. So I put that on there to finish it off. Right, I was going to say I've forgotten my magnets, but I haven't, because I got them stuck on the side of my tripod here. Hubby didn't realise I'd done that, and when he saw that sticking out of the side, he thought it was a screw, because a long line of these, that's exactly what it looks like. Let me show you. It was that sticking out of the side of my tripod, and it really confused him because he thought it was a screw until I told him what it was. Right, okay, so card pieces you're going to need. I'm going to make my main colour Smokey Slate, because I think it goes nicely with this design. I did toy with the idea of Sahara Sand and also Crumb Cake, but at the end of the day, Smokey Slate won. So if I turn all of these over, now I haven't prepared anything in advance for this one, apart from the paper pieces, and chances are this is going to be a long video. But I'm not going to rush it, because once you learn it, it's great. I don't want to cause any kind of confusion. So, start off with, we need a piece of Smokey, and sorry, there are no metric measurements, but there is one of the videos I saw, there are about 5 or 6 videos out there showing how to make this. Most of them, in fact I think all of them except one, as far as I can remember, are actions only, there's no words. But the one that I really went for actually had centimetres. So, and I can't pronounce her name. She's very well known in the world of YouTube, Asian young lady, and her name, it's spelt S-R-U-S-H-T-I, and last name is P-A-T-I-L. And this is called Explosion Pop-Up Card. So you'll be able to find her video quite easily. At least watching this you get the method of it, but you could get the centimetres from there. May not be the same size as me, but it will be a decent size. Right, back to this. Smokey Slate 12 inches by 6 inches. Whisper White 4 inches by 9 3/4 inches. And then you need 2 pieces of your the paper that you're going to be using, and that should measure 6 inches by 10 inches each of them, and as well as recommending that you don't go for anything shiny, when you buy it, make sure that the manner in which you're buying it will allow you to get 2 pieces 6 inches by 10, which means normally either part of a roll, so the paper is rolled up, no creasing in it, and it's not one of those that have been folded up to get it into a small packet, because those packets generally, or at least here in the UK, generally are not wide enough to get a 10 inches out of. Okay, and you do want to have this without the creases. So those are both 6 inches by 10 inches. And then you need a Whisper White piece, which is 4 3/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches. another piece of your gift wrap, which should be 4 5/8 inches by 5 5/8 inches, and then a piece of Whisper White, which measures 3/4 of an inch by 5 3/4 inches, and then a piece of gift wrap, which measures 5/8 inches by 5 5/8 inches. And then you need 3 pieces for covering your wrapping around your cake, and you need 1 piece that is 1 3/8 inches by 1 7/8 inches, 1 piece that is 1 1/8 inches by 1 3/8 inches, and 1 that is 7/8 by 7/8 inches. And then you need some scraps of Smokey Slate, and this is for the name on the front, the little frilly bit if you want to do that. And I think that was all, wasn't it, for those? And also a small piece of Whisper White, and that is for the candles. And that is it. So where are we going to start? I think if we start from the bottom and work up, there's so many elements to this, I don't really know a sensible way of going about it. So if we start from the bottom and work up. Right, now first of all, this one, you need your scoring board or your trimmer, if that's what you prefer to use. Okay, so if you put your cardstock in landscape, and you need to score at 5 inches. In fact, I'm going to go over that with my little bit of wax paper. That feels a little bit tough. Right, that was 5 inches, 10 inches, much easier, 10 1/4 inches, and 11 1/8 inches. Now, as I say, most of the measurements, or a lot of the measurements, are my own measurements. I just adjusted 1 or 2 things that I thought would be better for me. Right, so we've got that one. Now let's take the piece of Whisper White that measures this one. So that was 4 inches by 9 3/4. So that should be scored and folded at 4 7/8. Okay, so that's just being done in half. And number 3, right, okay, the next bit of folding. Now we don't need this for a jiffy, so I am working from the bottom upwards. So first of all, let's just fold these and burnish them. I don't know what that is. That's right, it's gone, whatever. Right, so fold that and then burnish that nicely. So that's ready for the next step. Just pop that there. Now this one, fold on all your lines. So that was the 5 inches. And as always, when you fold over, make sure that you've got both sides lining up nice and straight. And while that end is turned up, so that one's in. That one's in. And that one's in. Okay, so what will happen is we'll put our card in there, pop that down, and then that will fold over to hold it closed. So that's that one ready. And then next in the pile are these two here. Now I could have done one in advance, but I decided that I would do both of them with you. So first of all, when you've got this landscape, fold this in half. Just make sure the two sides line up beautifully, and give that a gentle burnish. Now if you're right-handed, reverse this if you're left-handed. Hold in this side, the open side, okay, and this folded corner here, you've got to fold it over to here so that this is in a square. It means you're going to have some left over here. When you're folding this over, make sure that you put your fingernail there and get that as a good crease, and hold your paper down so that it doesn't start sliding. Okay, you want those two bits to stay together. Okay, so I'm going to put my fingernail there, bring that over, and I'm getting a crease there first. Okay, I've made sure that that's lining up. Okay, so those two sides are lining up there, and my crease goes right down to the point there. Now that I have that there, I am sliding this over to line up. And there we go, we can slide that. Alright, so what you need to do now is open up and fold this one on this line. This one needs to come up. So what you do, fold this one so you're going inwards, so you've got both of these facing in, you've got your valley folds down there, and then if you get this one to make a mountain fold, as you start folding it, this will come up. Okay, mine's got a little crinkle there, move that out the way, so that's going to fold nicely. Okay, so that's coming up nicely, and then just allow those folds to fold. So you've effectively folded your work in half. Okay, and then you can give that a gentle burnish as well. Okay, so you should finish up with that letter M. Okay, now before we move on, let's do the same to this one. So you're lining up both sides. Burnish. If you're right-handed, the open side to the left, reverse that if you're left-handed. So you've got the folded corner here. It's easier to work with it on your work surface, which is just the worst thing, is how my camera is above me. So I am going to hold this down with this hand, and I'm going to put my fingernail there, right in the corner, and I am going to get a fold like that. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So still keep this. Now I'm going to line this right up along the side there, and that bit has already been folded, so that makes life very easy. Okay, now see what happens on the inside again. Alright, you've got that as a valley, you've got that as a mountain. Make the mountain into a valley. Okay, you don't have to bend it right over and get creases. You'll find it will go. Now this one in the centre here, if you just fold that, you'll find this starts coming up towards you. Just make sure that that isn't going to get caught there and get all crinkled up. Normally just a fingernail underneath will push that bit through. Let me show you what I mean where that is getting caught. Okay, that is going to stop it from folding really nicely. So I need to push that bit out. That's better. Okay, so that goes together. Fold these in, and then that's done. Make sure they're together. That's it. Okay, so that's 2 of them. Now what we need is our scoreboards back. Now you have on these a really good right angle here, alright, a big one. This is the shorter side, that's the longer side. So put the longer side up at the top. Put your right angle right into the corner, but your long side up here. So that comes up as far as your 6 inches. Alright? And then what you need to do is you need to score this and use your fat end, because this is paper and if you put too much pressure you're just going to tear it. Okay, so score it enough for it to take, and hopefully it will go through to the other side, but not very much, but we can remedy that. So that's at 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches and 5 inches. Now turn that over to point that direction. You'll probably be able to fill your score lines, but they won't be very obvious. Now score on top of your score lines, which means this time you need to do 1, 2, 3 and 4. Don't try rushing this, take your time or you'll go off like I've just done. Okay, it is very easy to jump tracks on this. Right, I'll straighten that one out when I come to do the folding. So again, the big right angle is going to go in there, and that has got to come up to the 6 inch mark. If you've got that in and you're only coming up to 5 inches, you've got it wrong. Okay, that is wrong, you don't want that. So turn it back over again. That's how you need it. Up, right angle, up to 6 inches. Now do the same. Your fat end on your stylus, score at 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches and 5 inches. Flip it over that side and now do your scoring at 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches and 4 inches. Okay, so that's all you need that for. So now what you need to do is, with your bone folder, you've got to fold on your score lines, and I find it easiest to do if I've got my long line up there. So when I fold this one over, I'm going to line this side here up against this side here. Okay, you can see that mine hasn't lined up absolutely perfectly there. That's okay. All right, so fold that over, line it up and then give it a burnish. Turn it around and fold it onto the next line, lining up straight down here, and burnish. Turn it around, fold it back in the other direction, line it up, burnish. Then fold the last one over, make it nice and straight and burnish. So you should have a bit of a pleat here which looks a bit like a curtain. So what you need to do now is to fold in the opposite direction. So that's the first big fold. Make sure it's lining up still, and then give that a crease. You see, this is the hammering that our designer series paper, the thick one, can't take. The quality is just too good, I'm afraid. But as I say, if Stampin' Up! Come out with one of their lighter weights, will be laughing. It would be great. Because I have to say, it's not easy finding a wrapping paper that actually works. Or at least my local shops didn't have a huge selection. Not for something that would work well with this. Right, okay, so you've got that. Let's do the other one while we're folding. Okay, so on the long line, fold it over. Make sure your lines line up. Burnish. Turn it. Fold it. Line it up. Burnish. Turn it. Fold it. Line it up. Burnish. Turn it. Fold it. And line it up. And then open it out and fold it in the opposite direction. Fold it, line it up, burnish, fold it, line it up, burnish, fold it, line it up, burnish, fold it, line it up, burnish. Okay. Now the next bit is the trickiest bit, but like the other piece that wanted to go in the direction that I was folding it, this happens like that most of the time as well. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you. If you do watch any of the other videos, I think most of them, oh right, when you got to this stage, okay, so that's your curtain, okay, you fold that over that way, not fold it over, turn it over. What a lot of people do is they draw a curved line on there. What I tried on mine was I put, it blocks it out, doesn't it? I was using my little bucket here, and I put it on like that, and then I drew round that, and then they cut it off to give a curved shape, but I didn't like the effect it gave. The finished effect like that, yeah, that's good. Okay, see that, rather than a straight one, but it didn't cut very well. Even on such a thin paper, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not, but let me try. The cuts aren't very smooth. In fact, you can definitely see it on, which one is it? This one here. Very bumpy. And they're all like that. That was that one that I tried. And I also tried it on this shiny paper. And that hasn't cut very nicely either. So I don't recommend doing it. But if you do want to do it, that's how you do it. Put something as a round shape and then cut it. The first bit's okay, but when you try cutting through that, you can imagine it does go a bit difficult, shall we say. Right, first one, open it up. Now, while I'm thinking about which way this goes, I won't talk, because if I say something and I tell you the wrong way round, and then I tell you the right way round, later on you'll think, which was the right way round? Follow me? Right. Right, okay. Now, each side, we're going to do this side first. On the first score lines, they need to be valleys, and then the next score line needs to be mountains. Okay, let me just show it from the back. Okay, so that's the first score line. They're in like an L shape. And then there's the next one. There should be 4 because we scored 4 lines. Okay, so the first one has got to be a valley. The next 2 have got to be mountains, like that. These 2 here have got to be valleys. And then these have got to be mountains. And what you should find happen is they will all slot into place like that. Okay? So that's where you get your fancy fold from. So let's do the other one, see if that one will be just as well behaved. Right, that one's already going down. Need to get this one to go down, because the first one is our valley, and the next one is our mountain. That's already coming up. Next one is the valley, and then that one's going to be our mountain. And then once you've got that, it should all just push into shape. If it doesn't go easily, it means something got caught. Don't force it, but find out what is hooking. Something will be hooking onto the other side, or that the fold hasn't folded all the way and you just need to knock it back into place. Okay, so once you've done that, you give that a good score, good burnish, like that. Okay, so that is where your fold comes from. And this is what happens if you don't do the curve. You get the finish like that. Let me bring back the curved one. And that is what the curved edge looks like. Okay. It does look nice, I agree, but as long as you don't look too closely at the cut lines. Right, so that's that one. Now let's do this one. Let's see if this one cooperates just as well. Right, so we need the first score lines to go as valleys. These two we need as mountains. Next two valleys. And then the last one as mountains. And there you go. And the last one, that's the valley. That's got to be a valley. That's a mountain. That's a valley. Okay, and that's a mountain. There we go. No, you mountain, valley. I went for my called a mountain a valley on that one. Okay, but you know they alternate. So the first one's the valley, then you've got the mountain, then you've got the valley, then you've got the mountain again. And it all folds together nicely. And you can give it a good burnish. And you can check your paper, and if you're using computer paper, gift paper, or the brown paper, brown wrapping paper, I'm sure you will not have any tearing, cracking or anything. I certainly haven't with mine. Even with got gold on the creases here, the shiny bits, and that's not cracking either. So there we go. Right, what should we do next? I've decided that we must decorate all the bits before putting it all together. So let's do this one first. So on here we need to get these two together and popped on there, these two together and on here, and we need 2 magnets. If you feel happier putting 4 magnets, then I would suggest you did them a third of the way along and a third of the way along. And the reason I say that is because on this one it was working beautifully with the one until I added that little pink strip there. And the reason I added that was, can you see there's a little line up there? because the white doesn't come right to the top, but the pink gift paper does. Well, that happened at the bottom, so I put a strip over it, and because that's not sticking down properly, it's put too much pressure on this flap that's coming over. And oh, I was going to say it doesn't work naturally, but it has started to, so maybe it will do, I don't know. I'm going to stick to the 1. I'm confident that it's going to be fine. So what we'll do first of all, I think, is if we take one of our, and again I will put the measurements of the magnets in the box below the video, and these are 8mm diameter. So I am going to judge where is halfway on here by using my grid paper. Can't get you to see that bit, but that dark line, okay, is halfway. So that, and this is 6, so it's got to be 3 inches, isn't it? So that's 3 inches, that's 3 inches, so it's got to be there. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my Tombow, put that back into position again. We are going to be using this grid paper big time for the bit with the cake on it. Right, so that's going to pop that on there. And then I'm going to put blue on here. And I'm just going to fold this top flap over. Right, that can ooze out now, don't mind. Right, what I'm going to do is to help that stick down, I'm going to put some pegs on it. Then I'm going to flip it over so that I can start working, adhering the tops. It doesn't take long. If you're a regular watching my videos, you know I do use my clothes pegs a lot. I think in the States you call them clothes pins, don't you? But they hold your clothes up, whatever you call them. Right, so that's that. So I'm going to put them up the top there so that I can start working on this bit. Now I can't leave the pegs there too long, because when I'm ready to put this on I need to be able to get that other magnet in there. So let's get this done. Let's use my silicone mat just in case I get messy. I have to say I have found this really interesting working on this project. I haven't shown you all the bits and pieces that I've tried, just some of them, but it has been fun, and I really hope you like this. You want to make a card that packs a wow, this is it. There we go. I think that's straight. Move that one up a little bit. Yep, in fact that edge doesn't look very straight. Doesn't look as if I cut it very straight. Oh well, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not getting this far on the video. And in case you're wondering what I'm talking about, if you have a look at that white there, my gift paper has been cut inwards there. And the reason that's happened is because the sheet of gift wrapping is so big it doesn't go in the trimmer. So I had to measure sort of 12 inches and then cut just a bit bigger than 12, just in case I made a mistake. And then the 12 inches would go in, and I thought I had straightened all my edges, but obviously not. As I say, I'm not going to worry too much about that. So that's ready to go on. Let's just do this one as well. I have kept the decoration on this card to a minimum as well. There are so many other things you could do. I mean, I haven't added any gemstones or anything like that. Which, if I send this to Sue, obviously I will do. Yep, I do have a friend, Sue. And I can choose her because it's unlikely that she watches my videos. She's not a crafter, but she's a lovely person. Right, so those two are ready to go on. So I am going to take my pegs off. That will be dry sufficiently. I will need them again later. Oh no, maybe not actually, maybe not. Right, so this one goes on here. Okay, so that's good. Got my good border all the way round. At least I got that right this time. When it comes to a question about where would you write your greeting, there are two options. One is to put some white cardstock on the back, or if you don't mind writing on the card, let me show you. You could write your greeting here, or if you need more space than that, if you put that higher, then that would give you more gap, or bring that lower and you'd have more gap in the middle. So there are choices there. And you know what I would do? One of the things I would do is I'd put a bow on each of these. That would look nice. Right, so that one's done. Now we need this one. Oh no, 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 I haven't done my... I haven't done my magnet. You silly person. Right, I'm going to have to just pull this off because I can't go back and start all of the video over again. Okay, I hope that I can get this back down again. Right, what you need to do is put your magnet on that one. Put some glue on there. And then, because you haven't put this back on, I haven't put this on yet, not back on. Oh no, that's right, it's not that one, is it? It goes on the inside. No, it doesn't, it comes on the outside. Oh dear, getting in a panic now. Right, rewind. With your magnet, put it on there. Oops. Now you're doing the wrong side, aren't you? Okay. Right, you stay there, I'll sort you out later. Let's take another magnet. These have, I think, I call them negative and positive, but they're not. They're called poles. Opposite poles. Oops. You get on there. Right. Oh, pulled 3 off then. Right, that's back up there now. This one. Okay. It will only fit on there one way. If you got opposite poles, they'll reject. And opposite poles mean they're both the same, I think. Right, that's better. Now, if you pull that over, because you haven't got this here, wherever that glue goes is where you have got to put your magnet. Okay. So, right, I can see where it is here. But let me just lift that up a bit. Just make sure I do get it in the right place. Please don't do this. It's not the easiest way of doing it. Right. No, there's too much debris down there, isn't there, to see this. Let's try again. I think this is the biggest boo-boo you've seen me do. Ah, there we go. That's it. Now we know that it's got to be sticky side down. Right, now you've got your magnet in place, you can stick this on the front or repair the damage if you've done what I've done. Okay, so I'm just putting more Tombow back on there. Let's put that down. Put some glue on Tombow. Well, that's, at least I've got that in the right place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pegs back. I'll get that to adhere this down. Obviously you could just put a heavy book on this, or maybe your punches or something. It's probably a lot quicker than using pegs one by one. I prefer pegs because I can actually see where the clasp is going. I can see it's going exactly where I want it to go. Except I could do with an extra one. And I think I've run out now, haven't I? Well, that's fine. Right, so I need now to start putting the bits in there. So we'll move on to doing this bit. Now this bit I like doing. It might sound confusing, but it really isn't. And you do need grid paper here, otherwise you are going to be putting a dot here, dot there, and joining the two lines together. And I need my big ruler. Hold on a moment, let me just reach across to get that. Having to use my noisy ruler. So I'll try, make sure I don't drop it. Right, you need a pencil. Now this is where measurements are mine. So you need to work with the fold towards you, okay? In fact, fold towards your right hand side if you're right-handed. Left-handed, just swivel it around. So that is my fold there. I need to draw 3 lines across here. That's for the cakes. The first line has got to be 1.5 inches up. In fact, for the video this might be easier if I turned it around. Well, let's try. I'm going to line that up first of all so that my card is straight with my thick centre line. Now I need to draw across here a line at 1.5 inches. And the easiest way to do that is, because my grid paper, these squares are 1/4 inch, so I need 6 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I line that up there, make sure my ruler comes straight down this side, then I know that that is 1.5 inches. Otherwise, if you don't have the grid paper, put your you have to mark up first 1.5 inches. Put your dot here, measure 1.5 inches here, put a dot, and then join the 2 dots together. But if you're like me, you've got a grid paper, you keep that there, and then your next line you want to be 1.25 inches above this, so that's 5 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So line it up that side, line it up that side, and then draw your line across. Now all of these lines are going to be on the inside, so you're not going to have to erase these. And now the next one is 1 inch up, so making sure you haven't moved your card. This is just 4 squares up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and make sure it's going straight across. And once you've done that, draw. Okay, so that was nice and easy. Now we need to draw lines going upwards. Again, we're going to use the lines as a guide. The first one, this needs to be 1 inch in from there, and you're only going to that first line. So making sure that my card is nice and straight. Okay, it's straight across here and it's straight down there. So I'm going to hold it. You could do with 3 hands here. So you've got to come in 1 inch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you put your ruler there and let it go straight across. And you draw. Oops. Now you've got to do the same the other side, 1 inch in, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, it's there. Make sure that ruler is straight. Make sure it's straight on the other side, and then draw 1 inch. Okay, now we're going to do the next section, and that is 1.25 inches. So you've only got to move over 1 square. Okay, so that's that one up there. And then 1 on the opposite side. Now whether you decide to do each layer at a time or one side at a time, entirely up to you. Now the next one is again just 1/4 inch in. So that's 1.5 inches. Make sure that I'm still straight. So that's at the top section there. And it's 1 square in from that one as well. So it's there and there. There you go. So very much easier if you've got one of these grid pads. And as from Monday the 1st of April 2019, grid pads with beautiful flowery patterns up here and down here are going to be available. That will be on my first order as well, along with all the new storage units that are going to be launched. If you're not one into flowers and things like that, then these... Oh, that's a question, isn't it? These will still be available, I'm sure. But I will ask that question. Right, so now we've got this, we need our scoring tool, and on this one I use my thinner end. And again, this isn't advised in the videos that I've seen, so this is a real JanB tip, this one. And open your card up, because you need to score on these 3 lines, and if you press too hard it's going to go through onto this one. You don't really want that. So on this one here, you do it from the outside of the cake, the outside sides of the cake. Okay, so I've gone up to that line there and that line there. Now you don't get much of a score line, but as long as you've got something to act as a guide. Now that one as well. And then the top one. Okay. Now what you need to do is take your scissors, and you need to cut up this line here, up to that there. Just stop as soon as you get to that line, and this one as well. Stop as soon as you get to that line. It's a bit like the braided card that I did a couple of weeks ago. If you're using paper snips, it's good because they cut to the end of the blades. But just make sure that you are holding both parts of your card together. You don't want a wonky or lopsided cake. Okay, so you've got that. What you're going to do now is put your fingernails into where that very slight groove is, and fold your cake upwards. Okay, so it should go straight, and then give it a crease. Bring it down, open your card up carefully, and then that mountain there, make it a valley, and then fold your card again on this fold, and you'll find that the cake will disappear inside like that. Now give that a crease, and give that a crease. Okay, now with your card folded again, you need to cut up this line and stop as soon as you get to there. Likewise, straight up here, stop when you get to there. But this time you can't cut through both layers. You've got to work from inside. Only cut on this side. See if you can see that all right. Yep. Okay, so you only cut this side here. Get myself all tangled up in knots trying to show this bit. Okay, so only here. Ignore this. So my scissors are going inside. Then holding the cardstock underneath, you don't want it to move. Okay, so no cuts on here. Now this one, you're going to fold it up again like you did the first layer, the first tier of your cake. Give that a nice crease. Now carefully open your card up again, and this mountain, make it a valley. Once it's a valley, then close your card up again on there, and you should find that that will close down. Okay, and then you give that a crease. Now you can't really do the other, just do it from the front there. Now you've got this one, same again, cut up that line, stop when you get to there, cut up that line, stop when you get to there. And again, you've got to do it from the inside, okay? You're only cutting on this bit here, okay? No cuts at the back there. So hold that bit closed so that you know it's not going to go walkabouts. If it goes walkabouts, the side supports on your cake won't be even. Yes, I did it. Right, come on. Right, so carefully open that up again. Oh no, we've got to burnish it first, haven't we? Give it a good crease. And then as you open it, make this mounting a valley. Push it through. And then as it's going down, you fold that and then bring that down so it all folds down beautifully. Did I not fold that over first? Let's bring that back up again. Yes, I did. Did I fold it? Well, if I didn't, I should have done. Right, now let's try that again. There we go, that's better. I think I forgot to do that, didn't I? So, there you have your cake. Surprising? Well, I find that surprising. It amazes me when things like that happen. So, again, if you wanted to make that as an ordinary card, you can just slip that inside a card base, and then you're good to go. Right, what I'm going to do is I am going to flatten mine down. It's not going to go perfectly, but I'm going to put my cake wraps around here. On the Sue card, I did it once it was in situ, and oh my goodness, it was hard work. So let's get the cake covers. Do the bottom one first. The sizes I've given you should allow you a little gap all the way around. Oh my goodness, my tweezers are so sticky. What have I been doing? There we go. And then this one. And then the last one, the top one. Now this should be a square. Okay, so there's our cake. See, all those pencil lines will go, you won't be able to see those. Right, now I'm going to do my happy birthday there. Let me tell you the two stamp sets I'm using. For the happy birthday, it's from Better Together. This is a 2-box set. Am I still in screen? Sorry. Better Together 2-box set, and that's the one that I'm using. The other stamp set I'm using is blow out the candles, and I'm using the candle, the infill and the infill. They are far too big for what I need, but I just cut the bottom off so that it's the right size. And with that, blow out the candles. There's a set of dies with it, which is called Candles and Confetti Framelits. So I will be using these dies here. As you can see, these are new. I haven't had a chance to set them up in the die storage system correctly yet. So I need to stamp those and die cut them, and then I need to do the name as well. And on this one, the name is going to be Eva. Eva is one of my son-in-law's sister-in-laws. Okay, so that needs to be die cut as well. Right, first of all, this I'm going to be using Smokey Slate ink. Now this is the one, you decide where you want this to go, whether you want it high or low because of where you want to write your greeting. If you're not worried and you're going to put your greeting on the back, then just do this in the centre. Make sure you get it up the right way though. I'm just going to try it on my piece of paper here. Yep, that's okay. I think my ink pad could do with a bit of a re-ink. Right. Hope I don't get my head too far forward. Honestly, this is so much easier doing it now rather than waiting until it's all inside. There we go, that's fine. Alright. So that can go there. Where's my scrap of Whisper White? Oh, here it is. Okay, so for the video, I'm only going to do one candle. I might put the others on later. I mean, I'm not unduly worried about time, but there is a limit, obviously. No, I don't like that. Oh, that's better. Right, so that was Stays On ink. And the infill stamp is here. And this is the candle. The candle I'm using, So Saffron. Right, now with this, the wide bit is at the top. So I'm going to do this grey. Again, try not to get my head in the camera. Oh, that's alright. And put that one away. We get the So Saffron. Bring this down towards me. Yep, you can still see. There we go, beautiful. Actually on this one, if I wasn't using my Big Shot, I'd say I'd cut this out, but I've got to bring the Big Shot over anyway. Of course I haven't stuck that bit on yet. Right, Big Shot. Now with the letters, I keep saying this recently, but I really ought to use my self-adhesive sheets because they get die cut and it's so easy to stick them on wherever it is that I want them to go. The way that I do it is I find myself a scrap, normally a piece sorted that width, but at least 6 inches long. So I'm going to have spare here, and what I do is I lift this That's the really sticky bit down there, don't you fall. Oh dear, that's clever. Right, hold on. That's it. Okay, let's turn it round. Can you see me? Yep. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put my cardstock down there, straight onto the sticky, and get it to line up down the side there. Close that. Now my non-stick scissors are absolutely brilliant, but this sometimes beats it. So what I try and do is just to cut off a bit of the cardstock as well. I mean, it is still going through the glue. There we go. Okay, so I haven't got any showing up here. There's a bit there, but not too much. Okay, so that goes to live for another day. Let's do the letters first, and I've, like Sue, I chose a name where I only have to run the letters through once. Right, so I can use up as far as that, so let's cut that piece off as well. That piece is going to go face down, so if you've only got it covering a certain area, you don't know whether you've put your die over the bit where the letter is. So that's Eve. Oh, there we go. And there. Now once you've done this, you can either save your scraps in one box where you know all the pieces of paper in there have got adhesive sheet attached to them, or you can put them in with your colours, your colour scraps, because you know that if it's got that on the back, it's got adhesive sheet. Right, that one. That one. Fortunately, the backing is still on there, so I can take it out of there. Now what I will do with this is cut that off, and that's rubbish, but this I will keep, because next time I'm using Smokey Slate I've got a piece that's ready, but I will keep this in with my colour scraps. I did start off having a separate box for them, but I've got so many of them now. Whoops. Right, that goes there. Now let's do my one candle. Let's move those three over there. I'll clean them up before I put them away. That can go down there because I'm only doing one. Right, let me just tip that. Mind if it's not right, I can just trim it up with scissors, can't I? Didn't move, did it? No. If you have a candle stamp, there's no reason why you can't stamp it straight onto your card, but you do need to make sure you get it absolutely spot on in the right position, which is the advantage of doing a die cut one. Right, so that's for here. Now that is far too big, so I need to cut some off. So I need to cut about that much, which must be about there. I'm going to try cutting short first of all, because I can always cut it shorter and I can't stick the bits back on. Oh no, still not long enough, short enough. That should do it. Just about. So I'm going to put, oops, I'm going to put some glue on this. And my tweezers. And I'm just doing that so it's right into the corner of the fold there. And I think that looks centered and straight. Okay, before I just do anything else before I forget, I'm going to have my clear wink of Stella, and I'm just going to make my flame sparkly. Okay, right, now what have we got to do? That's got to go inside the card, that's got to go inside, that's got to go inside. Let's just finish this bit off. Oops. There we go, that works brilliantly. So let's just adhere this. If I wanted to put a piece of white on the back to write a greeting, I would die cut one of the shaped frames, you know, maybe one of the rectangle stitched framelits, or maybe one of the stitched circles, squares or ovals. Something to make it more attractive than just putting a big bit of white up there. Right, there we go, that's that. Now I'm not going to do my frilly bit up there. I like the look of it like this. What do I do with my letters here? Right, again, I'm using my grid paper, and I'm going to centre this, so that's got to come up to 5. And that's 11, so it's 3 inches either side of this dark line, because that's number 8, Eva. The V is the middle letter. Now I'm about to do something that you don't need to do, or you shouldn't need to do unless you've been silly like me. Unfortunately, I left my adhesive sheets near the window, and when the sun was shining, obviously it does not do the adhesive any good. So I do add a little bit of Tombow, because then if the adhesive does give up on me, at least Tombow will take over. That is my fault entirely. It's not a reflection on the product. The product is just brilliant. Love it. Right, so that's there we go. You can also use this if you're using, say, red sticky strip, which is just so tough. If you've ever used it, you're probably not in a rush to use it again. But what you can do is to put Tombow on the sticky side, and it will stick as if you're using Tombow. But then as it dries, it will dry as the red sticky. Oops. That's my tweezers again. I'll let go first. My gosh. Very sticky. And I'm just... oh, that doesn't look too straight, does it? I think that's okay. And then we do the A. Obviously, if any of these bits are going too slow for you, please give the fast forward button a good workout. I think that's good. Now what I do, just to make sure this does stand out really nicely, I go over the letters with Wink of Stella. I rather like this grey with the pink. Obviously I like the pink, but I just think this makes quite a nice change. Now I'm not going to make you sit and watch me do all of these letters. I will finish them off once I finish the video. You'll be able to see pictures on my blog the day that the video goes live, which for me right now it'll be tomorrow morning. But I will at least get one done. I want you to see what the difference is. It makes the letters a lot darker, as well as the sparkle. There we go. Okay, yes, you can see that, can't you? Much, much darker. Don't know if you can see the sparkle there. I hope so. Right, okay. So that's everything done now, I think, isn't it? So, how do we put our card together? Take one piece and we are going to adhere it in like that. That has got to go up to the fold. This has got to come up to the edge. Now there is not really any room for you to move this over, but I want to do mine because I can see my pink has come out the edge there. That one's a lot better. Let's do this one first. This is going to show you how it should work. Right, that's it. Okay, let's do this one. So, Tombow. Right, get that ready because you need to make sure that is right in the fold. And the edge is right to the edge. I do leave an absolute tad, but I am on dodgy ground doing that. Right, let me show you what I mean by I leave a tad. You might say you can't even see what I've left. Okay, it's just that all these folds sometimes come over, so when you close, sometimes you can see. See, that one's not actually coming over, obviously you can see it sideways, but that one you are going to see. Right, now this one. Now sometimes when this goes in, this bit down here crinkles, but again it gets covered up. Okay, so glue onto that one and bring that over to adhere it down. Okay, just make sure that that's all okay. Let's see if it's crinkled. Yep, it has a bit. So let's get my bone folder to smooth that out. Okay. See, this bit here is what restricts whether you can bring it over or not, because the card has got to go in there, and if you don't leave enough room, your cards are not going in. Oops. Come on, in you go. That's it. Okay. So let's do this side. Now this is the one that's going to be jutting out. Okay, so more Tombow. Okay, get ready to close and make sure this is at the edge there. That's it. Now this one I'm expecting you to be able to see it there, which is not a bad thing. At least you get to see what happens if it's not all lined up, so that you know. Oops. You'll know why it's happened if it happens to you. There we go, so pop that down, and that one's even come a bit over there as well. Now, do I want to do anything about that? Let me have a look. No, first of all let me make sure that that has all flattened down. It's that bit there in the centre. If it rucks up, that's where it's going to be. In fact, that hasn't gone right the way in. That's why that's coming up over the top. But that's alright, I'm not pulling anything else apart. Okay, so that's my card. Now we need to put this one in. Again, we're going to put Tombow on. First of all, make sure that you're happy with all your creases. Now I'm going to do this side first, because this one goes, yep. Okay, so that's the front of the card. So I'm going to put my glue on this side. Right, so let's pop this into the corner. That's it. Turn that over. There we go, it works. So just need to glue this side down now. And I need to put the glue on this side within the penciled areas, not these bits in the middle here. That is your cake. There we go. That should be enough to keep it in place. there's our card. Wasn't that difficult, was it? I mean, you just take it slowly and do everything in the right order. Don't do it back to front like me, i.e. putting this on before the magnet was in place. Now, this is what I meant on the other one. You see how there's a gap there? On the other one, I put a little piece of cardstock there, and because it made it a little bit iffy closing, I'm not sure whether I want to do it on this one, so I'm not going to do anything for the time being. Just going to leave it. It's working, it looks great. In fact, that doesn't really show that much from there. Can you see much from where you are? I've got a cable in my way. But there you go. I really hope you enjoyed today's project, and I hope you give it a try. It really is a wow of a card. I am just so pleased with that. I'm pleased that I persevered with it. It's really lovely. If I do finish decorating this or anything, you'll see a photograph of it on my blog tomorrow morning, which will be the 31st of March 2019. So, many thanks for joining me today. Let me just get 2 in the screen for you to see while I say cheerio. Okay, so that's a grey. I didn't do that because that was to cover up a mistake, but that does look nice. And if you want to know what I used for that, it was this punch here. Okay, and I will put in the box below the name of the video that I copied my main instructions for, although I did watch a few of them so that I could make sure I picked up as many tips for you as I could. Okay, so there we go. Many thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions or any comments, please leave them in the box below the video, and you can access the box if you're watching the video on YouTube. Also in the box below will be all the measurements and as many of the instructions that I can give, like the score lines and such like, as well as all the products that I've used. And if you've enjoyed my video and you'd like to be notified each time I upload a new one, please click on the subscribe button, which is down there in the corner, and then click on the bell so that you do actually get the notifications. And once you have tried this, please share it in my Happy Crafting Facebook group. I'd love to see the ideas you come up with. I'd love to see the papers that you come up with as well. There'll be a link to the Happy Crafting Facebook group in the box below as well. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.